Fill your thirst beside the river. Wash the journey from your hands. Feel the comfort flow inside you. Come this far, you understand.
Hi, I'm Rosemary LaChance, a spiritual healer, advisor, and teacher.
Hello, my name is David Beatty. I'm a social and spiritual strategist and engineer.
And David is my co-host for tonight. He's come down. Carla had to go away, and he's agreed to come down and help me. And he has been on the show a few times before, and he's a very, very dear friend and a very spiritual man. Okay, this is our show number 247 from our What Do You Think series. And the title of the show tonight is called Why? Okay, so we are the hosts for this provoking food for thought new series called What Do You Think? This series is recorded and will be shown in your area on your local public service cable network. Please contact them for dates and times. Please visit my website and click on my TV show where you will find a wealth of information about this show.
These shows are available for you to watch free on YouTube. Just go to YouTube and type Healing Outside the Box to make your choices. We are constantly adding new shows, so keep checking back. We are also on Facebook under Healing Outside the Box. Please like our page and get information about new shows. We hope you enjoy the show.
Okay, to explain our What Do You Think series, from time to time we will present you, our audience, many subjects that have been in the news or in famous books or movies or documentaries that test our ability to seek the truth and decide for ourselves what we think is truly going on in the world. This new series, What Do You Think, is a third chapter in our show along with our Life Explained series and our distinguished guest speakers. Also, if you have any ideas or suggestions as to what you would like us to talk about, please get in touch with us. We will try to do it for you, and if not, we'll give you the reason why.
We make no claim to our truth. We just present the facts, discuss them, and let you decide for yourselves. If you have questions, you can email us or write letters to the station, NHTV in North Haven, Connecticut, and they will be passed on to us so that we may answer them on our show and only on our show. We will not engage in any discussions to convince you of or debate anything. As our show always is, this is food for thought, subject for the inquiring mind. Tonight we'll be talking about
Why? Why? We have a bunch of questions. Let me tell you a little bit about David, though. He's a social and spiritual strategist and engineer. He made the discovery that brilliant doctors had no clue. He decided to live versus not live. He knows that spirit sends the necessary resources to do that. He heals himself in the process, and he became an expert in light energy healing protocols. He has read and reviewed 1,800 books over a crash course 7-year period. To date, he has had over 8,000 sessions with people in pain and suffering. His successes in research into health and the human condition, combined with his spiritual studies, business and international experience, strategic mind, and his love of humanity, have guided him to the next project, the integration of many brilliant ideas and technologies into many things. Future of harmonious living, living free and don't die, attain wealth and wisdom.
health, wealth, and wisdom.
I'm sorry.
No,
health, wealth, and wisdom.
Health comes first, always.
Yes. Okay. So, we're going to discuss why we humans are currently behaving the way we are and what, if anything, can be done to improve our lives on this planet. Okay. So, we're going to read these series of questions and we're going to discuss them. Number 1. What are the lives of so many... why are the lives of so many dependent on so few?
Okay, so I'm going to take I've reviewed all of these questions, and where I would like to start, I'm going to jump a little bit, start at a point where I don't think most Americans or people understand what goes on in this country. This chart, Rob, do you see that? Thank you, Rob, for your help, by the way. I think there's something that we need to understand about America. Many people talk about America being a democracy, when in fact it was set up as a republic for which we stand. You hear that often, right? So what is going on in our world? A democracy, as has evolved and seems to be some of the chaos in the streets nowadays, is that a democracy is mob rule. If you have more than 50%, you get your way. The risk to this sort of thing is that the mob begins to think that they know the truth. And there's so much emotion involved, as you see with some of these riots and other things. And I'm not making a judgment about that. I view my job as analyzing these things as an observer. So in my opinion, America has evolved towards a democracy as opposed to a republic. A republic, the Republic of the United States, is based on constitutional law. So under constitutional law, our founding fathers, in my opinion, set up divine law, things that were known to be true, that were to be adhered to no matter what came up, because humans are rather transient and certainly very emotional. You might agree with that, right? So a democracy is majority, which can lead to mob rule. A republic is based on law and should be orderly in some way. So let me give an example. This pen by science is purple. If 100 people were in this room and 99 said it's red, in a democracy, the pen would be red because they have decided on that. They have voted on that. In a republic, science would say, or the founding fathers or someone would say, the truth of the matter is this is purple. One of those 100 people say it's purple. What we're losing is the truth and the emotion of mob rule. And that's concerning to me. So we as individuals are losing our power, and some elite force out there, moneyed people, elite people, if you will, are utilizing or seem to be utilizing the emotions of people to change the way we live. So I'm a constitutionalist. I believe if, in fact, we stuck close to the Constitution, we would be fine. But mob rule has taken over, and there are some out there who are now trying to discount the Constitution. Okay, I think we need to get back and stay close to that. So just a brief starting, where we are as a starting point, that I think we've lost the idea that we're under the rule of law, and I believe divine rule of law, in a republic. And we may have lost that. So people are taking advantage of that, if you will.
So why are the lives of so many dependent on so few? Because we listen to those few.
So what has occurred is, and I don't know if the audience knows this, a country is run basically on money, right? Follow the money is the old saying. The financial elite, the central bankers, have gotten control of Federal Reserve, it's technically called, but that's not a U.S. institution. I don't know how many people understand that.
Yeah, you're right.
You understand that?
Yes, it's not.
So a small group of people have gotten control of the United States Federal Reserve. It's a fancy name, but it's not of the people of the United States. So they utilize money supply, interest rates, and other things. Matter of fact, there are 7 pillars of society. Many socialists claim the 7 pillars are family, religion, education, government, media, business, and entertainment. Now, the elites have figured out a way to get control of most of those or all of those, okay? So what we watch every day on television, whether it's news or the shows, we've watched them our whole life. In fact, we're being programmed. So the other event that occurred, in my lifetime, we had massive expansion and prosperity. So a middle class emerged from the opportunities in America, right?
Right.
So frankly, we got a little comfortable. Many people I know had their house in the country and their kids going to college and 2 or 3 cars in the driveway. So we were allowed to get comfortable and create a middle class. Over the last 10 or 15 years, this middle class has been disappearing.
Yes.
A number of things like the real estate crash and the Wall Street crash and so forth. and jobs going overseas. So now politically what we're seeing is the extreme left and the extreme right are going at each other every day in the news and every day we live, and the middle class isn't the buffer there anymore. Okay? So what I'm trying to say is Americans have gone to sleep. They've gotten very comfortable. While we were asleep, the ruling elite, the very wealthy, have taken control of those 7 pillars to varying degrees. And the news, very specifically, will tell you a message as opposed to reporting the news. So we've got the American public going to sleep. We forgot the American public forgetting about the Constitution. Whoever yells the loudest seems to be in charge, or whoever is the most violent seems to win the day,
Right.
and we back off. And of course the internet and social media and all that plays into that. So those are my first thoughts. Do you have any thoughts to contribute?
No, I think you did a very good job. That was really wonderful.
Thank you.
My question now be after that is, why do we give a few people the power over millions and millions of us? Why do we do that? Why don't we stand up and say, hey, no, we're not going to take this. We're not going to do this. This doesn't agree. This isn't right. This isn't the Constitution. This is not, you're taking away our rights. Why do we listen blindly? Why do we follow blindly? Why do you think?
Well, I think it's partly what I've said already, that
Right.
we really got comfortable.
Right.
And I think the term that you and I have using is lazy, frankly. We've gotten lazy.
Oh, yes.
People usually react when they're pushed to the edge. Right now, life isn't quite bad enough to push back. And as we slept, as Sleeping Beauty slept, the ruling elite continued to consolidate their power in the courts and certainly in the money supply and other things. So now we're waking up, the middle class is gone, and you're seeing the clashes in the streets about the 2 extreme sides of life in America. So again, this is called healing outside the box, so we can't avoid the discussion about energy. I think there's a fairly new age group listening to this. Everything on this planet is energy, right? Allow me to go there if you don't mind.
Yes, no. This
So-
is a show of enlightenment, so let's enlighten
So
the people.
technically the Earth is a third dimension planet. Third dimension planet is about duality. There's good, there's evil, in quotes, okay? There's positive, there's negative. There's always going to be that. There's never going to be pure peace here because there's good and bad at all times. It seems to me as if the negative side is kind of taking charge of things and the pendulum is swung over that way.
Right.
So it's like a teeter-totter. It goes up and it goes down. And right now it seems like the good guys, if you will, whoever that is, it's not a political statement. It's just that life isn't what it should be. And to your point a little bit earlier, Americans have stopped reaching for their goal. They got really comfortable. I mean, look at the physical form on the streets today. We're not healthy anymore. You can see it. We waddle around. We're a little bit overweight.
Right.
We don't eat the way we should. Let's admit it. We got comfortable.
We did?
So what do we do about that?
Good question.
Well, what seems to be going on, again, this is an elite group, is the planet, the people, what we're aspiring to do is raise our consciousness, okay? And that struggle is going on right now. One of my observations, and this may be a little elite for the group, but you can tell me, is that we're entering the age of Aquarius, which is actually the age of the feminine. For hundreds of years, certainly thousands of years actually, the masculine energy has dominated.
Yes.
So you've had wars, that's real masculine energy, conquering, wars, rape, pillaging, stealing, all that. The gentleness of the feminine energy has been pushed to the background. You can see that in the church. Mother Mary's pushed aside. So women, there's very little argument here. Women have taken a second place seat, right? In my opinion, women are making a big comeback. And what we're seeing on the streets, the violence and so forth, are the last remnants of that masculine male energy.
Yes, that's very good. Yes.
So you have this teeter-totter again. The masculine energy doesn't want to give up its power position and its money and other things. The feminine is coming on strong. For the planet and for the human race to continue to survive, we need more of a balance. We need that teeter-totter to be balanced, right? So I'm welcoming in that feminine energy. I'm actually enjoying this, frankly. I'm about the only one I know who's enjoying what's going on the news and all these other things. Because I want you to think about this. all these energies, and I didn't talk much about everything is energy on this planet. Everything. This table has an energy, you have an energy, I have a frequency signature. Each human being has a level of consciousness. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with David Hawkins' work. Are you familiar?
A little bit, not much.
Not the fellow that's in the chair.
Oh, okay, that's the
but
one I
David
thought.
R. Hawkins did a lot of work on consciousness. And at his College of Kinesiology, he developed a scale of 0 to 1,000. And he measured, if you will, anything, a table, a human being. Rob in the booth there has a level of consciousness, essentially a frequency. And on his scale, the human race a few years ago was at 200. That's the collective human race. So you have a frequency, the humans have a frequency, the earth has all together, right?
Right.
So at 200, the human race is barely surviving. Okay? It's literally animalistic life you want to survive. What's occurred in the last, let's say, 8 years or so, since 2012, that reading of 200 on this consciousness scale has moved up to 260. Now, we're a long way from 500, which is the level of love. If we could collectively get to the level of 500, believe me, there wouldn't be any wars. We would all be very kind to each other. Life would be simple and so forth. But that's my opinion. That's why we're here. We were plopped on this planet to try to grow, to try to learn how to ascend and so forth, okay?
Right. You're right.
So there's a struggle. It's like almost like a butterfly coming out of the cocoon or
Right.
the chrysalis. It's a struggle. And we're trying to grow as a race, the human race, not any other race, the human race. We're trying to grow into this beautiful butterfly. So there's conflict. As I said, the male energy doesn't want to give up its position. The left and the right are battling over things. The middle is technically gone. But the good news to me is I can see, I can sense, I can feel that this negative energy or this violent energy is on the surface. In the past, it always lurked below the surface. So let's call it evil, just to give it a name, was always out there lurking.
Right. We're
Now it's out there and we can deal with it. We can see it. So I think it's good news. I know there's burnings and people are dying and so forth, but that's part of the process, unfortunately.
You know, you mentioned the feminine energy coming into view and all that, and the riots and things that are going on. But I noticed that women today, they're part of those riots. They're acting like the men. So many women have lost their femininity. I've seen them in politics and the way they talk and the way they act. There's no femininity anymore. It's like they're competing in a man's world as a man, acting like a man. Instead of bringing him up to their level, they're going down to the male level. I see that happening a lot. I listen and I hear that. And I think the women should wake up and hold on to their feminine energy if they want to change this world.
Well,
That's my feeling.
in the spiritual work I've done to ascend, and I believe that's why we're all here, to work towards ascension. That scale I was talking about, 0 to 1,000. For instance, Jesus was 1,000, Buddha was 1,000. Once you hit that number, you kind of got to go. You can't stay on this dense planet anymore. And I think we're all working towards that, which creates an issue. But within that, you've got the masculine energy and the feminine energy. To ascend, those must be balanced within each entity.
Right.
So maybe women are struggling with that, I don't know. But we must find that balance point, or we're going to be stuck here in difficult times.
I feel that if they don't like what's happening to them, they don't fight it by becoming like the men that are making this happen. But they bring the men, they help them to wake it up, to stop this fighting, to be more loving and peaceful what women are supposed to be. And then the two energies will blend, like you said, yes, supposed to be for both of us. But you have to show them, because the men, I don't think they have any idea right now. Sorry, guys, but I don't think they have any idea right now. You just think you're in touch with your masculine bully side. And that's what I see with people. That's exactly what I see with these men of today. And when I see them in the streets and what they're doing, it's just bully, 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 bully. That's all it is. And the women are right there doing it with them. And I was watching something today, and some footage on a riot and breaking into a store and all. And I thought, look at the women are just like the men. Where's their femininity? How are they going to make love be the thing in this world? Okay? Don't go down to people's level. Bring them up to your level. But what is your level? They're losing their level. They're like sinking down. I hate to see that, but I think that women should wake up. That's how I feel.
Well, there's many movements going on in America right now. A lot of the rioting and other things that you just mentioned. Ben Shapiro mentions there's two major movements in America. They're called the Unionists, if you will. And these are people, mostly older people, I guess, like me, who've worked your whole life. And even though America is not perfect, it's getting better. And to us, it's certainly the best place in the world. That's a starting point. But I must admit, the activities outside have really gotten me to look at a couple of things that I wouldn't have looked at otherwise. So I want to find the good from the bad.
Mm-hmm.
The whole Black Lives Matter and other things. And I've looked at Antifa, actually. So many of the kids, including some of my kids, have more of a leftist or Marxist leaning. And there's a strong correlation to the college kids. So they may have gotten that in college. Now, Ben Shapiro calls that disintegrationists. Two major themes at work right now, which is why there's so much conflict. The unionists, in other words, keep the union together. We can do this together. Quote unquote, we're all Americans. Let's do this together. Put the race over there, and if we stick to the Constitution, race should not be an issue.
Right.
Politics, in many ways, creates race as an issue. But the disintegrationists, which is a name for the far left, they technically want to burn down the existing structures.
Yes, you're right.
They're saying, forget about all the history, forget about everything. The only way, and this is their view, and I'm trying to understand it. If we burn everything down, then we can start fresh. The problem with that is, under communism or Marxism, there's no example of actually rebuilding in a way that individuals can be satisfied.
Right.
I think what's missing in America is we've all been softened that I have to do this for the church, or I have to do this for my kids, or I have to do this for everybody else. Now, you are in service to others. There's two types of people on this planet: in service to themselves and service to others. You're a very high being, and everything you do is about serving others. There's confusion here, though. We have stopped caring for ourselves. We've stopped caring for the spiritual side of ourselves because we're so busy chasing the material.
Right.
So we've got the material world and the spirit world. What I have discovered in my journey, and briefly Rosemary went into that, I was nearly dead in 2009, changed my life completely, and I've done a number of things, and I want to integrate that into a program and show the world what I have done. But the main point is, you've got to, in my opinion, focus on your own consciousness, level of consciousness. It's called LOC. If every human being did that, instead of saying you're bad or you're good, making all those judgments, then the human race could go from that number of 260 that I discussed into the 3 and 350. And collectively, people would do the right thing just because that's the consciousness of the group. So I think we've forgotten about caring for ourselves, which includes things like meditation and eating the right foods and so forth, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're chasing the almighty dollar. And these elite have us on a treadmill. They have us running, and then we get distracted with the news and the other things, and we don't pay attention to ourselves and the things that are really important. I love this story. The Dalai Lama had a woman come see him, and she goes, oh, I got this problem and that problem, and my son's a drug addict, and my dog is sick. And he said, well, you should meditate at least an hour. She said, well, but my husband's a jerk, and this and that, and I'm broke, and the mortgage is due. He goes, that's a real... You should meditate 2 hours. So the point is, slow down. Meditation may provide a permanent solution for you. Whereas if you keep doing what you're doing, it's not going to improve. So the more problems you have, the more you should spend time in stillness. I'm a believer, and frankly, I meditate a few hours a day. I don't sleep a whole lot. My experience is that for every hour of meditation, I save 2 hours of sleep.
Mm.
So that's paying attention to myself. But I have to be honest, I never paid attention to myself until I got really sick. Couldn't get out of bed, frankly. I could say I was nearly dead, but just could not get out of bed. And then I started paying attention to myself. But that's what it takes, a life-changing moment often, right?
Yes, it really does. does. I used to work in hospital at one time, and met a lot of people there who had their life-changing moments because of their illnesses. And it's too bad it had to come to that, but sometimes it does to wake people up.
So there we go. We've answered a little bit of the question. We're not paying attention to ourselves. We're getting on this treadmill and we're chasing the mortgage money and all these other things that some external force is saying is important to us. And we value that new car because our neighbor just got a new car. All these nonsensical comparisons
That's right.
and things that we go through, as opposed to really caring for our own health. And Rosemary mentioned health, wealth, and wisdom. So the idea is to grow towards ascension, which is the ultimate wisdom. But until your physical form feels good and is healthy, you're not going to meditate. You're not going to do those other things. So that's what I figured out. I changed my diet and I did a number of things. I walked regularly. I actually have a program called LAWS, LAWES, where you get light infused into your body to help heal you. You get an air system. You get the best water in the world right here. I'm not advertising. I'm just saying light, air, water, earth is food, and then spirit's on the end of that. All those things must be taken into account if you want to really enjoy this life, find joy and permanent happiness in this life, instead of chasing things that aren't relevant, the bigger TV or whatever, right?
You're right. And I think that the top of the list is really spirituality, your connection with God. Not through a religion, not through a church, or any group that says you have to do it this way or you're not going to get to heaven, but your own personal relationship with God. People have said that. I hate that saying, but it really is, because he's in all of us, right, everywhere. We are him and he is us. And without that faith, people don't have faith today. So many people don't have faith. That's why they're so petrified. And that's why they listen to everything that they hear on the news and everything these politicians tell us. That's why, because they don't have faith in God. They just believe in the system. And they listen. Like I said, why do the people terrorize us? They form groups and defy the laws, and they're allowed to get away with it. Why do we elect people no better than us to make laws to tell us what we can and cannot do?
Because we've stopped thinking.
That's right.
Critical thinking. I call it aware thinking because critical sounds critical. But critical thinking in the schools and so forth, the answer is A or B. That's it. You get it right or you get it wrong. There's no more discussion. There's no more logic. So in so many facets of our life, whether it's education or the news, how many people plop down and watch the news? I don't watch the TV at all.
No news.
Yes, I go to the internet. I know what news sources I like, but
that's what I do. Internet.
I think for myself. I form my own opinion.
That's it.
I don't let somebody on the boob tube tell me what's important.
Right.
So we need to get back to critical thinking, and a big part of that, other than this show, would be to turn off the TVs. Keep coming back to this show, though, right?
Well, shows that are educational,
right,
shows that make you stop and think. I don't watch the news either. I go on the internet and I pick up like Fox or someplace, just read the headlines. Does it sound interesting? All right, let me see what it's about. Never mind. And like that, pick and choose, and that's it. So you're right, because I remember my mother when she was alive. She used to tell me, "Oh, you shouldn't do this and you should do this and go there." I'd say, "Why? Why do you think that?" She goes, "I heard it on the news." Mm-hmm. She said, "If you hear it on the news, it's got to be true." Well, we know that that's not true anymore. I don't know if it ever was. I think it was a lot truer than it is now, because things are very different.
Well,
right
it's
now.
a fact that 5 corporations own 95% of the media outlets in America. So the message is often the same.
It is. That was, yes. Was you telling me that? I think you were telling me that you went to different channels. No, you looked at, it was something.
We queued up 26 different screens, actually from around the world, and the lead announcers were saying the exact same thing.
Same thing. Can you believe that,
How
everybody?
is that possible?
Can you believe that? Imagine that. Exact same thing everywhere. Just like you said, there's just a few people that own this. Conglomerates own the news companies.
Well, I have a brilliant niece. She's a college graduate. She's 25. She's a lieutenant in the Air Force. And she actually went at me a little bit about Black Lives Matter. So I was having a nice conversation. I said, well, what you're saying to me, I could get on CNN. You're just telling me their talking points. There's no critical thinking going on here. I said, of course Black Lives Matter, but I'm not going to bow down to an organization that represents something else. And this is my opinion. I guess I'm allowed to say it. So I said, do me a favor, call me tomorrow. But before we chat about this again, critically think. Read the manifesto of Black Lives Matter. It doesn't matter whether it's Antifa or Black Lives Matter. The point is you do your homework and create your own opinion as opposed to whatever, CNN or Fox, it doesn't matter to me. But people are lazy. She was just giving me the talking points from CNN.
Yeah, that's right.
And
That's what
I
they
said,
do.
I'm happy to talk about it, but I do another level. I've read the manifestos, and no, I don't agree with the organization. That's all.
Yeah. Well, you know what I said when I heard that? Black Lives Matter. I said to myself, of course. Didn't they always matter? I may be dumb, I may be naive, I may be childlike, but I always thought they mattered. Everybody matters. All life matters. It should be all life matters. Whether it's human, whether it's animal, whether it's nature, all life matters because God created all of it. I come from a spiritual point of view on everything.
Right.
Okay, that's how I am. He created it all. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. Illnesses, viruses, all the different illnesses, they're not real. We created those from our negativity. We created these diseases. Man actually even went and physically created. We created with our thoughts and we created with our bodies by making it.
Right.
And man uses it to control people because the biggest thing that people have, they fear is death. They don't want to die because they don't believe in anything after death. They don't believe in it.
Well, what's my motto? Live free, don't die.
That's it.
I actually borrowed that from the state of New Hampshire, but they say live free or die.
Or die.
I say, why die? Don't
right.
die.
Don't die.
Don't
Live
die.
free and don't die. But I'm saying, even if you do die, well, as far as I'm concerned, you come back again. It's reincarnation. I believe that 100%. Otherwise, life does not make sense. But what I'm getting at, not to talk about that, but just that people don't have anything to hold on to. They don't have anything to grab. They don't grab God's hand. They just go like wandering around. Well, like you know those pinball machines that go boing 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 with the little balls. That's what people are
That's
doing.
right.
That's exactly what people are doing today.
I've got it, and then their day is over every day. And I have a saying: you do this, you run around, you do that, you get sick, and then you die.
That's it.
And then you die. That's
So,
it.
there was a saying: life sucks and then you die. Something
then-
like
well,
that.
And then you die. So
But
that's my
because
point.
you
Why
make
not?
it that way.
Why not be free? Why not think critically? Why not find out why you're here? Why not create a purpose for yourself?
Exactly. Pick up some books and start reading. Start somewhere.
I did 1,800 and
I know you did. But people out there, I'm saying people out there, get some books, read. I do a lot of posting on Facebook of spiritual things, and people ask me, well, what's the answer? What's the answer? And I go, get a book, read. I tell them, well, there's books. I have a website at the end of the show. It tells where you can get wonderful books about spirituality. Life has to make sense, and they make sense. Give something that makes sense. Come on, people, have you lost your common sense? Have you lost it? I don't know. Maybe you have with all the stuff that's going on. When did you lose it? What happened? What happened? When did you lose your faith? I don't know.
So let's get back to critical and aware thinking. How do we do that? I mean, let's talk about the brain for a minute. I mean,
The what? The brain?
the brain. So why are people, as you would say, lazy, and why are they, I would say, comfortable?
Naive.
Do you know that 87% of human thought is negative or neutral? Think about that. How are we ever going to turn the corner we're talking about when 87% of the input is either neutral or negative? Just let that sink in for a minute. And 96% of the thoughts I had today, I had yesterday. So they keep rolling over. That's that treadmill. So what we're saying is we've got to find a way to break that cycle. We've got to get good positive thoughts in there. Now you hear that all the time, positive thinking. Let's talk about this. Our culture is a male-dominated, it has been, left brain. I don't know how much your audience knows about this thing, but the left brain is logical. The left brain is logical and masculine. Okay, it controls the right side of the body, oddly, but
I know.
so it's mathematical, it's calculating, it's a little devious. I can tell you this, the capacity of the brain, the left brain is 10%.
Oh, jeez.
10%.
10%.
The right brain, which is the feminine side, is the creative side, is the kind side, is the loving side. The things we do every day, in some ways the news you watch, it dumbs us down. It prevents the feminine from getting in. Now you know why the churches and so forth suppress the feminine. They don't want us being creative. They want us on that treadmill working, paying our taxes, and somebody somewhere just counting the money.
That's right.
They've taken away the joy of our lives. And part of my purpose on this planet is to help people discover the right brain, the creative brain, through meditation and other things. See, people don't know that.
I know. They have to do it for themselves. Religion just tells you, follow us, and we'll say some prayers for you, and when you die, or come to confession, or I don't think they do that anymore, but confess, get this host in your mouth, and then you're saved. They never say, let me help you with the way you feel, why you feel that way. Let me help you to be a different person. Let me help you not to make those sins anymore. That never happens.
Never happens.
Never happens. Not with Catholics or any religion. It doesn't happen anymore. Follow us. All religions, money-making businesses. That's all they are. You don't need that. All you need is God.
So what we need to do is, you have in your brain, and this is very, very simplified, in the lower brain you get these thoughts. The midbrain is actually the ego. It blocks those thoughts from getting to frontal cortex. The frontal cortex is the spiritual side. It's ready to go. So the ego wants to keep you exactly where you are. I could have the most miserable life ever, but my ego says, hey, we know what we've got, let's just stay here.
Yeah,
okay?
right.
So it blocks any progress. So you're actually fighting against yourself. Your ego's trying to protect you. Hey, you're safe, you're reasonably comfortable, don't push it, we'll keep you here. That's a great thought, but now we'll push that to the side. Don't let that get to the frontal cortex. No way. Now I've got some bad news for you. Rosemary was talking about connection to God. Your connection to God has actually been blocked, but what I believe are the elites. Your pineal gland in the center of your brain is your connection to spirit or God, whatever you believe in. It's the seventh chakra, sixth and seventh. The seventh is the crown, but sixth is the pineal. And here's what's happened. Now remember, I've read 1,800 books. So, when you get fluoride in your toothpaste and in your water, why is it in the water? There's no good reason, I can tell you that. Fluoride calcifies the pineal gland. In every study that I read, and I read many, the first thing the fluoride does is it races to the pineal gland and calcifies and blocks it. There are four major things that block your pineal gland. It almost seems like someone's trying to block our pineal gland, I gotta tell you.
No.
It almost seems that way.
Really?
So let me tell you. So you've got fluoride, which is in your water and in a toothpaste for some people. Aluminum is the other thing that blocks the pineal gland. Now, for years and years and years, underarm deodorant with aluminum. Everyone go home, look at your underarm deodorant. If the first ingredient is aluminum, you're rubbing it right into your body. And by the way, your lymphatic glands are here. So that ends up in your pineal gland, also blocking it. The third thing that blocks this pineal gland, remember, the pineal gland is your connection to source, God, whatever you believe in, angels, it doesn't matter. That's your connection, are glyphosates. Glyphosates are the Monsanto product. The fertilizers in your food.
Right, fertilizer.
So unless you're almost purely organic, and it's very difficult to do, you're eating glyphosates, which do a lot of damage to the body, but once again, block the pineal gland.
Pesticides.
Right.
Pesticides.
Those three things. The fourth thing that really blocks the pineal gland, and you can say your connection to heaven, God, or whatever, are EMFs. Really, not surprisingly, not so much phones, but Wi-Fi. EMFs are an activator and block your pineal gland. So those four major things are working to stop us from connecting to our source and keep us on the treadmill. Go to work, hurry, go to the hospital, run around here, get this, do that, keep going. Never stop and think. Certainly don't think critically. Just pop the news on, we'll tell you what to think.
There you go.
See, I'm of the opinion that the news sources, the ones that are all reporting the exact same things with the same writings, I think, frankly, and I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, I think it's MK Ultra. I think it's mass programming to get everybody just to do what you're told to do. Go to work today, pay your mortgage, go to the hospital, do whatever you do. Don't be too creative.
Right.
Right?
Right. What about the 5G? They're talking about now, up on the poles and everything, coming through our cell phones and TVs.
I'm of the opinion, through work I've done in meditation, that 5G will not roll out across the country.
No, somebody's going to
It
stop
will
it.
be blocked. Yeah.
We blocked. Okay, good.
So yeah, that
good
would
to hear.
definitely be a block to the pineal gland.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what comes through for me.
We discussed our last show, and we're going to do that show again because there was so much to talk about we didn't finish. That Rudolf Steiner said 100 years ago that one day they would create a vaccine that they would give to children, especially babies when they're first born and when they're very young. I didn't know they gave them vaccines so young, but vaccination so young. And this vaccination is going to destroy around the pineal gland and the different. Hans did a video on Are We God Men? And it shows how this thing will destroy the brain cells that are responsible for our spirituality, like the pineal gland, and people will not have a conscience anymore. They'll lose their
Artificial intelligence, effectively. Yeah.
That's what Rudolf Steiner said. But then when I saw the video that Hans made, who didn't hear what Rudolf Steiner said, I went, "Oh my God, this is like a validation, of what he said years ago."
Right.
So, and I don't put it past people because that way they can rule us. They can rule people.
So the message is to purify the best you can, I think, right?
Yes, purify your body the best you can. You're
Don't
right.
put poisons in there. Be aware of what's going into your body. I'm of the opinion, and that'll be in the work I show, that the human body, the immune system, if cared for, can fight anything off.
Mm-hmm.
I have no fear, frankly, of this because I believe we have very simple ways to take care of it.
And if you don't feel healthy and you don't feel good, you're not going to want to try to develop your spirituality.
Right.
You're not going to want to try to be a better person or find your answers. You're going to do your work, you're going to come home, and you're going to eat and grab that beer or that drink and just collapse on the couch, and that's your day. And next day you get up and do it all over again. That's what's going to happen. So yes, everything figures in. And God always said, health is love. He loves health. Good health is love. Okay? And
So love yourself. Change one habit. Change one habit
Yeah.
today or one tomorrow. Just one. Find a little more time. Find that still time, whether you meditate or not.
Right.
Just start into that habit. Try to connect. I have just explained why your pineal doesn't connect automatically. Oh, I can't meditate. People say, well, there are reasons for that. But you have to start.
Or just have a conversation with God. If you can't,
Right.
if you can't find yourself, you can't get quiet enough, start talking to Him, as if He was sitting there. Ask questions, ask for help, ask what to do, but don't have expectations. Do not have expectations of what He's going to answer. He's going to do what He's going to do for you, what's best for you. And sometimes the answer is no. But you got to have faith and trust. If you don't have faith and trust in God, what's life all about? What is it? So whether you do or not, one day you will. In this life, on the other side of life, in another life, one day we're all going home. That's good news. But how long do you want to wait? Do you want to wait a long time? You want to wait right till the end of many lives? No.
Yeah.
Start now. And then
Start
when you
today.
do it, help other people to do it. Boy, that's going to make you feel wonderful.
Well, my theory is telling people things very rarely works. It didn't work for me
No.
until I got really sick. You really have to show people. So that, like I said before the show, if 20 years from now, I'm 64 now, when I'm 84, if I still look 64, people go, wow, how are you doing that? And then you can explain and show them what you've done. But we've got to show them.
I know. You have to show them.
Yeah.
Today, people have to be shown. They just don't listen. And you can't try to make somebody listen. You can't try to make anyone believe what you say. All you can do is put food for thought, which is what we try to do on the show. Here's your food for thought. You pick it. You choose. What do you want to do with your life? What do you
Well,
want
I'm
to have
here to
happen?
tell you, you're way more powerful than you realize. You haven't paid
Oh,
enough
yeah.
attention to yourself. When you connect to God, you'll start to feel that. And there's proof of that because everybody celebrates the celebrities and everybody celebrates the athletes. It's so much easier, right? It's so much easier to stand for nothing than it is to stand for something. And isn't she pretty? Isn't he rich? Isn't he a great basketball player? And all the time that you said that or you watched that game, you could have been reading. You could have been walking around the block. You could have done something for yourself. And they try to tell you you're not important, but you are. Your soul wants to develop. Your soul wants to grow. Do something for yourself today. And do one thing different tomorrow. Find an extra 5 minutes or something to do something. Find that still point. Relaxation is so important.
Every thing is important to God. He loves everyone. That homeless person on the street, he loves him just as much as he loves a king or a queen or a celebrity or anything. He loves them just the same. There's no difference. And you never know when the homeless person on the street is an angel in disguise, too.
Well, I know they always are, by the way.
I have seen videos where
Yeah.
they have given them, they brought food over to, I remember this one man in particular, but there was a few. They brought him a bag of McDonald's hamburgers and a couple of hamburgers and french fries. You know what the first thing the hobo did? He said to the man, "Here, you want some? Share it with me." How many people, he was starving. You think he would, most people won't do that. I want it all, it's mine, No, have some. There's your angel.
I'm not sure angels eat, but
I know.
they certainly don't eat McDonald's.
But they have to show you. Somehow they have to show what it is. So however they do it, that's how they do it. It's what people can relate to,
Right.
So, all right. So we can get back to these questions here.
Took a little turn there, right?
Yeah. Well, that's what this show's about. All right. Why do these so-called leaders of countries act like they are threatening each other and threaten war and think that they have the power to do it? Does that make sense?
Well, sort of. The official story is that, I don't know if they're called red flags or whatever, but the official story is men have always needed territory. Men have always needed oil. No, men have always need to go to war, right? So why do we allow them to do that? Why do we allow our kids to go do that?
That's right. They start the war, they start the battle, but they don't go. They sit in their little homes all nice and comfy, and they send poor little innocent men, or I call them, what's the word I call them? I can't think of it. They're heroes, but they're, I can't think of it. Oh, I hate that when that happens. But they're there, and they're out there, and they're fighting to protect their country. They have the best intentions in mind, but they're giving their lives, not just for us, they're giving their lives for these leaders, because of them, for them.
Well,
Okay?
I'm
They're
sure
brainwashed into thinking it's
almost always a material gain, oil in most cases, or something like
land
that.
or oil or power, whatever it is. So why do we let that happen? Right?
Right.
Because we think without that, they're going to come over and steal us and take over again, and we
Right.
get killed. Fear of death rules everything. But we allow it. We vote these people into office, and they turn out to be monsters. And then you have to say to yourself, how did I do that?
Well, the problem gets to be, at both parties, if you will, we're offered two choices, and both parties do the same thing, essentially, at the end of the day. Both parties have gone off and had wars for whatever reasons they chose to do. So what are the choices? How do we stop that until we improve the quality of the choices? But these elite control the choices that we're given.
Yeah.
They have in the past, anyway.
But they shouldn't. Why do we let ourselves be controlled like that? That's what this whole thing is about, this particular show.
This whole show
Why
is
do we
about-
let ourselves be controlled by so few?
Because we're comfortable and we're lazy, and we don't do
lazy.
work on ourselves.
There you go. Lazy's a big one.
Right.
A big one. I don't want to be bothered about what's going on in the world.
I've got to go to work in the morning or
Yeah.
something like that, right?
What was it that I read once? What did the politician or the president, whatever, say to the Pope? You keep him ignorant, and I'll keep him busy.
Right.
And that's about what it is. Too busy to do. We have to have. Why do you have to have all these countries? Why do you have to have all these borders? Why?
Well,
What a
there's a
world.
theory that the so-called central bankers make money from every war. They fund both sides, and they put both sides into debt. So the elite benefit from war if you don't consider the lives lost or any value to that.
Right. No value to that. No, there
value
isn't.
to that.
There isn't any value to that. That's how they see it.
Well, now we're getting
What is
in
it called? Collateral damage.
collateral debt. But you're pushing me into the real discussion of whether what's going on in the world is the ultimate battle with good versus evil.
Yes.
Okay?
It is. Go ahead.
No, that's where we're going.
That's right.
If these elite run these countries and create these wars and so forth, and we seem to have very little power or little willpower to address this, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where we're going. It's It appears Sodom and Gomorrah, violence in the streets, burning streets.
That's right. Exactly.
This may be the big battle of, do we let these people continue to run our lives or not?
That's right.
And we can define them as easy. We'll take the good side of that teeter-totter, right?
Right.
So to me, I'm actually thrilled by what's going on because it's coming out of the surface. I think the elite have been running things behind the scenes for so long. We initially didn't notice, and now that we're starting to notice, we're asking your question. Okay, what do we do?
That's right. I thought of what I was going to say. The soldiers and the sailors and the Air Force, all those poor men that go to war, I call them misguided heroes.
Right.
Because they are heroes for sure, but the reasons, they don't even realize that the reasons are not
fighting for democracy in most
Right.
cases, right?
right. So I love them to pieces, but they don't. It's a shame. It's such a shame. You brought up something. I didn't mean to interrupt you on that, but I wanted to. I wanted to get that in. I don't know. Whatever you said there, I forgot now. Okay. Oh,
You got
about
it?
it's good because the things are coming out, and you're right. Now that everybody's saying to me, and I see it on Facebook all the time, I want things to go back the way they were.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait for things to go back to the way they were. Oh my goodness, things are going to go back to the way they were. And I say, I don't want it to go back the way they were.
Mm-hmm.
I want it to be better than it was. Because now, like you said, all the evil that's being done by all these celebrities and all these people and all these Illuminatis and all these groups and all this dark shadow government is coming to the surface. People are starting to see it. I see it every day. Everything that I tune and look on YouTube, Facebook, everywhere. It's seeping out like an ooze, all right, through the cracks. And we don't want that anymore. So now we see it. What are we going to do about it?
Well,
We want to make a better world. Go ahead.
the consciousness of the planet won't stand for that evil anymore. That's the
Right.
point. Mother Earth and the human race want to move ahead, so that's got to be exposed and dealt with.
Yep.
I'm of the belief, and I don't know if anyone shares this belief, that we're going to enter a golden age on the other side of this. And most of that hinges on the great feminine and people moving into their right brain, which is creative and frankly unlimited. I also believe that simple things like patents and free technology for energy will soon be coming out. And obviously they've been suppressed for many years because of the oil industry, which is the first or second biggest industry in the world. So I think when all this turmoil settles, I think the golden era, the great feminine coming back and saying we need to be kind, we need to be smarter, instead of chasing the old technologies and pumping oil and all these silly things. We know we have free energy. We know there are ways to create a torus. An important thing to remember, and this may be going too far into physics, there are two major energies on planet Earth. There's electrical energy and there's magnetic energy. Humans have taken advantage of electrical. It's really cool. We have all these lights and things, but you hit a switch and it goes down a wire. The magic of, now electrical energy is masculine, if you didn't know that. It's like a football player. Go there. Sure, coach. And you run straight ahead, right? That's electrical energy on a wire. What humans have avoided, or the elite have avoided, is the magnetic piece, the feminine piece. And let me suggest a TV show for you. It's called Thrive Movie.
Yes.
The Thrive, Thrive movie.
Right.
It's 8 years old now. But they feature in that a free energy device called the torus. And at the end of the day, the torus is magnetic energy. Now, magnetic energy is a figure 8. It has no end. It runs forever. We're well aware of this. Not just me, many people, we haven't been allowed to come out with it because the patents are blocked and other things. So when I just say the feminine energy is coming, magnetic energy is coming. It's a big part of the healing work I've done too. Some of the systems I use incorporate electrical healing, light healing, and magnetic healing, which makes it more sustainable. Okay, electrical energy, and I don't mean to diss on acupuncture, but acupuncture is creating an electrical bridge with these needles. At least that's my impression of it. So you put a needle in and it creates a bridge, but that stays with you for 72 hours. Then the electrical runs out. The beauty of magnetism is it never runs out. So why wouldn't you base your core energy systems on that? The fact is we will. So when I say we're going to enter a golden age, we all pay crazy electrical bills, we all pay crazy car bills and so forth. Once that gets settled, and I don't think it's too far in the future, then we become more prosperous. We'll have more time to do the meditation I've been harping on. Right now we don't think we have time. We do, but we don't think we do. So I think that is coming. Magnetism. Right around the corner. It's going to change the way we live, in my opinion.
We have all that we need here. We just don't know how to use it, and we're not aware of it.
I plan on setting up research facilities on a campus and putting some of these to work.
That's great. All right. The rich of the world. They control the world. Does the money make them better or smarter than the rest of us?
Well, clearly it doesn't make them better. They think they're smarter and they think they're immune to the rules. But also I'm going to project here that the United States will wake up and take that Federal Reserve back from these central bankers. They actually control us because they put us in debt and they issue the paper and they charge us interest and so on. I could tell you numbers that would shock your audience. They don't need to be shocked. But I think in the near future, the United States will go back to where the Treasury is actually the central bank for the United States, which is the way it should have been. And I happen to believe, not a conspiracy theory, my belief is that Mr. Lincoln, I've read every book on Lincoln out there, was assassinated because he would not go to the central banking system. He wanted to create his own greenbacks based on gold. There's a strong belief out there that Mr. Kennedy may have also been assassinated because he would not dance or participate with the central bankers.
Right.
So part of the golden era I'm talking about is going to be better, cheaper, free energy systems and control of the money supply. And right now, the way we live, money makes the world go round.
It
right?
does. Okay. So another thing is, why are these super rich plotting to take over and control the world, and yet they remain in the shadows, and they call themselves the Illuminati, the Bilderberg Group, the Cabal, and they strike fear in the hearts of millions? Nobody wants to talk about them, but it's starting to come out now.
Well, they're smart. They control the press, right? Wow. They control the press. So when you say no one wants to talk about them, the press won't talk about them, right? Whether they want to control the population of the planet or whatever, I mean, that's probably true. But we can't prove that. And I think certainly the United States is going to start taking its own power back.
That's right. They're telling us by the chimes that we're ready to give our contact information. So
Okay.
The show is over for now, David.
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed it.
So wonderful having you with me again.
Go meditate, everyone.
Yes, here's our contact information. My phone number is 203-627-7966. My email address is whitebuffalo8@comcast.net. And my website, www.rosemarylachance.com. And the website I was telling you about with all the wonderful books is www.gabrielle-publishing-house.com. And
Thank you to Rosemary. 247 shows. Yay. Well done.
And Dave doesn't have any contact information. If there's questions you'd like to ask him, get in touch with me. Okay? So from now on.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and I hope you'll come back.
If I'm invited. Thank you,
You
Rob.
will be
Great
invited.
job.
You will be invited many times.
I had fun. Enjoyed
Yes, it was
Thank you.
wonderful. Okay. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Mwah.
Wash the journey from your hands. Feel the comfort flow inside you. Come this far, you understand.